Chim. The infant opened her eyes then, as if sensing the importance of the moment. Her gaze moved between the two women, and Emma could swear she saw intelligence there that went beyond her few days of life. What would that look like practically? Emma asked. The housing situation, education, legal documentation. The resistance leadership has been working on citizenship pathways for refugee children, Lyra said. As for the rest, we would figure it out together, day by day, decision by decision. Emma reached out tentatively, and Lyra shifted the baby so that Emma could touch her tiny hand. The infant's fingers wrapped around Emma's with surprising strength, and she felt something click into place in her heart. She'll need a name that works in both our languages, Emma said, surprised by the certainty in her own voice. Lyra smiled for the first time since Emma had known her. I was thinking Luna. It means light in my language, and I believe it translates similarly in yours. Luna, Emma repeated, testing the sound. It's perfect. Outside, the rain was beginning to slow, and shafts of sunlight broke through the clouds to illuminate the courtyard. The children below had stopped playing to watch a rainbow form across the sky, their excited voices creating a chorus of wonder that transcended species boundaries. So we're really doing this? Emma asked, still hardly believing the turn her life had taken. We are, Lyra confirmed, her voice stronger than it had been in weeks. But I should warn you, raising a half-human, half-ethereal child will not be simple. There will be challenges we cannot anticipate. Emma looked down at Luna, who had fallen asleep again with Emma's fingers still clutched in her tiny fist. The best things in life usually aren't simple, she said, but they're worth it. As the rainbow faded and the children returned to their games, two women from different worlds began planning a future that neither could have imagined just days before. In the growing partnership between human and alien, in the promise of a child who would belong to both species and neither, lay the seeds of something that might one day reshape the galaxy itself. The rain drummed against the warehouse roof as Emma checked the perimeter sensors one final time. 3 months had passed since the Galactic Council's fleet had departed Earth, leaving behind scattered refugees from a dozen species who had nowhere else to go. The human resistance had offered sanctuary to those who wished to remain, but resources were stretched thin across the hidden camps. Emma paused at the entrance to Section C where the most vulnerable refugees were housed. Through the reinforced glass, she could see Lyra sitting beside a makeshift crib, her elongated ears drooping with exhaustion. The elf-like alien had arrived 2 weeks ago, heavily pregnant and speaking broken English through tears that seemed to flow endlessly. The door slid open with a soft hiss. Lyra looked up, her large violet eyes reflecting both hope and fear. Her child, barely a week old, slept peacefully despite the harsh surroundings. The infant appeared mostly human, save for the slightly pointed ears and the faint luminescent patterns that traced along her tiny arms. How are you feeling today, Lyra? Emma asked, settling into the chair across from her. Better, Lyra replied, though her voice carried the weight of someone who had lost everything. The healing pods your people provided have helped with the physical recovery, but the emotional wounds run deeper. Emma nodded, understanding more than she cared to admit. The war had left scars on everyone, human and alien alike. She had lost her own family in the initial bombardment of New York, and finding purpose in helping others had become her way of processing the grief. Have you given any more thought to what we discussed yesterday? Emma asked gently. Lyra's fingers traced the edge of the blanket wrapped around her daughter. About staying here permanently, you mean? The offer stands, Emma said. We have established protocols for integration. Your daughter could grow up among humans, receive proper education, have opportunities that might not exist elsewhere. The alien woman was quiet for a long moment, studying her child's peaceful face. On my world, children are raised by the entire community. It takes many voices to shape a young mind, many hands to guide them safely through life. Here, I am alone. Emma felt something stir in her chest, a protective instinct she had not experienced since losing her younger sister. You don't have to be alone. Lyra looked up sharply, searching Emma's face for any sign of deception or pity. What do you mean? I mean that raising a child is difficult under the best circumstances, and these are far from ideal, Emma said, choosing her words carefully. But humans understand the concept of chosen family. We form bonds beyond blood, create support systems that transcend species barriers. The infant stirred, making soft cooing sounds that seemed to bridge the gap between their two species. Emma watched as Lyra instinctively adjusted the blanket, her movements filled with the universal language of maternal care. "Your people have been kind to us," Lyra said slowly. "But accepting charity and building a life are very different things. I have nothing to offer in return." Emma stood and moved to the window, watching the other refugees go about their daily routines in the courtyard below. Children of various species played together, their laughter creating a soundtrack of hope that defied their circumstances. "You're wrong about that," Emma said, turning back to face Lyra. "Your people possess knowledge of biotechnology that could revolutionize our medical systems. Your understanding of quantum linguistics has already helped us communicate with species we never thought possible, and your daughter represents something even more valuable." "What is that?" "Hope for the future," Emma replied. "A generation that will grow up seeing cooperation between species as normal, not exceptional." Lyra stood carefully, cradling her child against her chest. She walked to where Emma stood by the window, and together they watched the mixed group of children below. "In my culture, when someone offers to help raise a child, it creates a bond that transcends individual relationships," Lyra said quietly. "It means accepting responsibility not just for their physical well-being, but for their moral development, their education, their emotional growth." Emma felt the weight of those words, understanding that Lyra was offering her something profound. "I've never been a mother myself," she admitted. "But I've seen what happens to children who grow up without guidance, without someone who believes in their potential. And I have seen what happens to children who grow up without roots, without understanding where they come from," Lyra replied. "Perhaps together we could give her bot to